Last night at the Rogers Center, the Braves outlasted the Blue Jays in a game that showcased just about everything you could see.
High drive, belted deep right field. How far is that one going? Second deck. Goodness gracious.
Today, Alex Wood makes his first career start against the Jays. He'll face veteran knuckleballer R.A. Dickey. Game 2, Braves and Blue Jays from Toronto next. The Atlanta Braves are the road warriors of the National League. They're unbeaten away from home. They'll try to continue that today on a gorgeous afternoon for baseball in Toronto. It's game 2 of our 3-game set. The 7-3 Braves take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe. What a ball game last night. Everything you could want to see. 7 home runs were hit last night, 5 of them by Toronto, yet the Braves held on to win by an 8-7 final score. And, Joe, those Jays homers weren't the big blows. Big 2-out hits for Atlanta were.
Yeah, you don't often win a ball game when the opponent hits 5 home runs. But what happened last night was the Braves never laid down. Even after giving up those home runs, they kept coming back and coming back. And a lot of it had to do with some real clutch 2-out hitting. Eric Young here delivering an RBI hit. He was among many that came through. Andrelton Simmons with a big triple ruled a double that drove in a couple of runs. Jace Peterson did the same thing with a triple. So the Braves have been doing what they need to do, Chip, to get on the board when they've got guys on base. And they've been coming through with clutch hitting. Naturally, when you hit one about 500 feet like Freddie Freeman does, it makes things easier. But take a look at this. Last night, 6 of the 8 runs scored came with 2 outs. They've got great numbers with runners in scoring position. But with runners on third base, we've talked about this a lot beginning in spring training about how when they got men on at second base and nobody out, got to get him over, got to get him in. You get a runner at third base with less than 2 outs, get him in. They're doing a great job of that and capitalizing on opportunities, and that's why they're 7-3.
Putting the ball in play is paramount. I would assume that's a big challenge with R.A. Dickey today, the knuckleballer.
Yeah, they've cut down on their strikeouts by an overwhelming number, but R.A. Dickey will be a challenge. Because, as Matt Diaz said in the pregame show, you got to be patient. You've got to wait for a good pitch to hit. He's walked a bunch of guys, and the Braves have hit him hard the last 3 times they faced him. Hopefully more of the same today.
And Alex Wood, you know he'd love to see 8 runs scored as he takes the ball for the Braves. Contrasting styles indeed on display in Game 2. Starting pitchers and the rest of the lineups coming up from Toronto right after this timeout.
Atlanta Braves baseball is AT&T Uverse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
Chamber of Commerce weather again in Toronto. It's a shame they haven't tested the roof yet this year. That's one of the reasons why it's closed. And the Braves very happy that they were able to close out Toronto in Game 1. Wild game last night. 8-7 was the final score. First time the Braves have allowed 5 homers in a game and won since 1978.
No kidding. Well, there's different ways to win ball games. And as I said to several guys, coaches and players after the game, who said the Braves can't win an 8-7 game? And everybody laughed. They said we'd prefer to win the 3-2s, but last night was an exception, and it was fun to watch.
It was fun indeed. Let's hope for more of the same this afternoon. Middle game of the series. The Braves starting 9, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Cameron Maybin will lead off. He'll be the Braves center fielder today. Alberto Callaspo bats and plays second. Nick Markakis, after a 4-hit night last night, will be the DH. Freddie Freeman, look at his numbers against R.A. Dickey. A couple of homers and 4 doubles. Chris Johnson back in the defensive lineup. He'll be the third baseman. He was the DH last night. A.J. Pierzynski catching the day game after the night game. Johnny Gomes, big pinch hit homer last night. Kelly Johnson's in right, hitting 8th, and Andrelton Simmons 9th.
This lineup is illustrated easily by the fact that these are the 9 hitters on the Braves team that have all faced R.A. Dickey before. So they're all in the lineup, and they've all had pretty good success against him. He's 40 years old, 6'3", 215 out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's in his 10th year in the big leagues, was a #1 pick originally by Texas back in '96. His last 3 starts against Atlanta, I mentioned this in our opening comments, 0-2 with an 11.15 ERA, huge batting average against him, and 4 long balls. Lifetime just 2-6 against the Braves, but this guy was a 2012 Cy Young Award winner with the Mets when he was a 20-game winner, and he has a string working right now of 9 straight quality starts.
Toronto could flash some leather. They showed it last night, especially the kid in left field, Kevin Pillar. He put on another show. Pompey in center, Bautista in right, Encarnacion and Danny Valencia on the infield corners. Tollison, Travis, Russell Martin, and R.A. Dickey round out the rest of the Toronto defensive lineup. What a story Kevin Pillar has been, and a revelation for them offensively and defensively this year.
And he's already got 3 outfield assists as well, so he's making a mark in the American League and sending notice around the rest of baseball that he's an excellent outfielder.
John Gibbons, the Toronto manager. His club's now below 500 at 5-6 on the year. We had Joe West behind the plate last night. Today it's Bruce Dreckman's turn to call balls and strikes. Tom Hallion and Alfonso Marquez are the other umpires on this crew. Maybin, Callaspo, and Markakis to start things off for the Braves. Cameron at 143, a couple of homers, one of them a leadoff homer last Friday against New York. And there's the knuckler. It's a called strike.
He has 10 strikeouts in 12 1/3 innings. He's also got 8 walks.
That one just missed. He works at warp speed. He and Mark Burley, 2 of the quickest workers in baseball, and they're both on this Toronto staff. And a fly ball hit towards center and playable for Pompey, who's got it, and Cameron Maybin flies out to start the game.
As I mentioned, you've got to be patient, Chip, with this guy. You've got to see a couple of pitches, see what it's doing today. Today might be different than his last start. Right-handers have a little better numbers than lefties.
Callaspo takes a strike. This will be a challenge for Alberto. Hasn't struck out yet in regular season play. And it went too high for an even count. Up and in. Sliced into the seats. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's 4 pitches in less than a minute.
Yeah. And off the plate for a full count. It's dancing and darting here in the first inning. Line drive into left field, a base hit. He got a fastball. And Callaspo didn't miss it. His 4th career hit against R.A. Dickey, and the Braves have the game's first hit.
Thought he might sneak one by him. Not a chance. For Callaspo, it snaps an 0 for 10.
Nick Markakis, one of the men of the hour last night for the Braves, a 4-hit night. His 24th 4-hit game in the big leagues. And Freddie Gonzalez gives him a chance to get that body off the turf. He'll be the DH today. Kelly Johnson's playing right field in game 2.
Knuckleballers have a pretty good idea of where their knuckleball is going to go depending on how they grip it, but for left-handers, typically against Dickey, it's just going to move away and mostly down and away. So you've really got to wait and stay on the ball.
In the dirt. Surprising stat I saw about Dickey last year. Trick pitch, knuckleball, tough to hit, tough to catch. And a slow pitch to the plate. He only allowed 3 stolen bases all year last year.
That is pretty amazing, but just a quick step.
Short lead at first, and a 2-1 is low to Markakis. 3 balls and a strike.
And like several hitters in the lineup, Nick has good numbers against him. 5 for 18, but he's drawn 6 walks too.
And make it 7 walks. Markakis aboard. 2 on for Freddie Freeman, and this is exactly what the Braves wanted to see in the opening inning, especially, Joe, when you consider Freeman's head-to-head numbers with Dickey.
Yeah, they're crazy. 10 for 21, 2 homers, 4 doubles, mixed in the 10 hits.
Great chance for the Braves in the first to jump in front of the Jays. 0-1.
Dickey's last start, he pitched real well against Tampa Bay, but he got beat 2-1. 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, but he walked 5.
That was a weird series for the Jays. They outscored Tampa Bay 17-16 in 4 games, but lost 3 of them. And Dickey's in some first inning trouble. 2-0 for Freeman. 3 balls, no strikes.
See if Freddie gets a green light here, hoping that he throws a 3-0 fastball. Nope. Wasn't going to give in to Freeman.
All bets are off now with a 3-1 count. And Freddie takes ball 4. They appeal to third, and Atlanta's loaded the bases with 1 out. And here's another favorable matchup for the Braves. Back-to-back walks for Dickey. Callaspo, Markakis, and Freeman are aboard in the opening inning.
Great opportunity to jump on him early. Give Alex Wood a little breathing room.
High fly ball deep right. Bautista drifts back a step or 2 shy of the track. Callaspo's going to tag. He's going to come home, and Chris Johnson gives the Braves the lead with a sacrifice fly to right. 1-0 Atlanta in the first. Put it in play and take advantage. That's exactly what Chris Johnson did.
And it goes to what we talked about in our opening comments about what they're doing with men in scoring position. And this time a runner at third, less than 2 outs, got one of them in. Chance to get more.
6 of the 8 RBIs for the Braves last night came with 2 outs. That's the situation for A.J. Pierzynski. He had an RBI hit last night. Ball 1. And I thought he took Castro out of the ballpark last night. He turned around a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
I thought he did too.
But hit it to straightaway center. And that's outside. AJ's the subject of our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot today.
Great numbers against the Blue Jays, and like he is for the season right now, 5 for 15. 2 homers on this regular season.
Ripped down the right field line and into the seats. 2-1. Don't need to worry so much about the pitch count with R.A. Dickey. The knuckleball is considered to be a low stress pitch, and Dickey is among the league leaders in most pitches thrown. In fact, he's thrown the 4th most pitches in the game since 2012. Shields, Verlander, and John Lester have thrown more than Dickey, and his 27th to the Braves in this opening inning is high for another full count.
I guarantee you they're a lot more fatigued than he is over those pitches.
So Freeman will run with 2 outs. And the payoff is popped foul and headed to the stands. 4 3-ball counts for R.A. Dickey in the first inning.
And a good job there by A.J. to spoil a pretty good pitch. Another. AJ is strong. He has a short stroke. He waits a long time. You can see the ball travel a long time.
To hit this pitch, you really must be a disciplined hitter. Pierzynski will see a 9th pitch. Dickey's thrown 30.
Oh boy. The more of those he sees, it's not like they're all the same by any means, but the more he sees, the more calibrated he can get for the speed and adjusting to it.
And finally, Pierzynski is subdued. He asked if it was a strike. It was. Handle and hand came apart, and Dickey survives the first, but gives up the game's first run. Johnson gives Alex Wood an early lead, and he'll face this Toronto starting lineup. The Jays have hit 8 homers in the first 5 games of their homestand, but they've lost 4 of those 5 games. Josh Donaldson got in on the act last night. He had a big game. He's their DH today. And Toronto a game under 500 because Bautista, Encarnacion, and Russell Martin, Joe, haven't done much hitting yet.
Well, let's hope they don't today either. For Alex Wood, his last 13 starts overall, dating back to last season, a 2.18 ERA and 12 quality starts. And 13 straight games where he's given up 3 earned runs or less.
And strike one to Devin Travis, the default leadoff man for Toronto. Jose Reyes will not play this weekend with a cracked rib. He's their hottest hitter, and that's why John Gibbons has him hitting first. And he led off with a home run in the first inning last night. Bouncing ball towards second. And a perfect throw retires Travis for out number 1.
Well, the first inning is part of one of the keys, the 4 keys to pitching success for Alex Wood today. The first inning in his first 2 starts so far, he's given up 5 hits and 3 walks and only 2 runs, but it's been problematic for him. So get through this one today and then start coasting, I guess. Number 2, stay down. Got to keep the ball down. We saw last night the results of what happens when you pitch these guys somewhere around belt high. It leaves the park in a hurry.
And the Braves infielders' reviews on the turf were mostly positive, I think, last night. We asked Andrelton Simmons about that on the bus ride to the ballpark today. Very soft, very spongy, very slow, he said, and every hop results in topspin. As Donaldson takes the ball inside. In fact, one player told me, he said, imagine, and I said this last night, imagine Wrigley Field with artificial turf. That's how thick this fake surface is. Donaldson with a rope. He's coming to life. And he's aboard with 1 out. Here's a look at the Braves defensive lineup for game 2. Left to right in the outfield, Gomes, Maben, and Kelly Johnson. Callaspo gets the start at second. Chris Johnson back in at third after his first DH stint. And A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate. Jose Bautista. Strike 1.
They fell behind Donaldson 2-0 and had to try and get a strike in there and couldn't get it by him, so he gets ahead of Bautista quickly.
Straighten him up inside. It missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last year, Bautista hit 35 homers, 104 walks, 96 strikeouts. And he walked twice last night. Excellent changeup. Bautista tried to hit that to Mississauga, and he missed it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Great changeup. See if he doubles up on it. Oh. 2-seamer. PNC pitching performance. Was it low? No. Close. I'd throw over to first just to see if Donaldson's trying to get a good jump.
To third. Big hop. There's 1. Look at the turn by Callaspo. He used the base to defend himself. Donaldson couldn't get to him to take him out. And Alex Wood is through the first inning with a 1-0 lead here in Toronto. Time for our Yellowwood Bringing the Lumber feature. How about Johnny Gomes last night?
He said he was looking for this pitch. He knew that Cecil was tough and had a good hard breaking ball, and he said on the second pitch I was looking for it, and he nailed it.
And you mentioned at the time the great numbers that Johnny Gomes had against Cecil. Freddie Gonzalez was asked about that after the game. He said, "Why'd you pinch at Johnny Gomes in that situation?" And Freddie deadpan, "Because I can read." I mean,
that's great.
You know, all the time you wonder why managers make the decision. Well, we said at the time he knew the matchups.
Yeah.
And he picked a perfect spot, and Gomes rewarded him with a tie-breaking homer.
That's hilarious.
Because I can read. Well, I'll tell you what a first 2 weeks Johnny Gomes has had. The go-ahead homer last night. The hustle play down the first base line that led to a couple of runs against the Mets. A home run against New York back in Atlanta. And he thought that pitch was tipped at the plate, and he's going to be tagged out. Gomes thought he made contact with the baseball, and that's why he didn't run. And he'll be out number one here in the second inning. He heard something. And no appeal.
It was the glove and the shin guard. But it looked like he whiffed on it.
One out for Kelly Johnson. Rolled foul. Kelly has the start in right field for the Braves today. Kelly played here in Toronto in 2011 and 2012. In fact, he's played in every AL East home city. And a shot toward Batista in right, and he gets there. It was knuckling toward the plate. It was knuckling off the bat.
Yeah, it was. And it was really beginning to sink, and a nice play by Batista. Sinking quickly.
Here's Andrelton Simmons, and that's fouled away. Fans who didn't see the game last night and aren't familiar with the artificial surface here in Toronto, all that stuff that's flying up when the ball bounces, those are rubberized pellets that create the artificial bouncy surface. Dickey tumbled and made a great play.
He's won a Gold Glove before in 2013, and he made that play like an infielder.
After a 32-pitch first, Dickey gets the Braves on 9 in the second and trails by a run.
in the bottom of the second inning. Today I talked to Alex Wood about how the start of the season has been for him in comparison to last year, and he said, you know, it's been a slow start for me. I'm not doing what I expect of myself. He says, I set high expectations for myself, but at the same time am realizing that it is part of the learning curve and making adjustments as you grow. He said since his last start that he battled through, he says he's focusing on getting his timing down in bullpens and sides, guys.
That's a good point to his first two starts, Christina, because I don't think Chip and I, either one, feel like he's had his best stuff in his first two outings.
I agree wholeheartedly. We're also guilty of forgetting this is only his 38th big league start. That's right. Little more than one full season in rotation, and we know Alex hasn't been in rotation full time since putting on a Braves uniform. Broken bat and a bouncer out to short. That should be easy and is for Andrelton Simmons. Encarnacion struggles continue. There's out number one.
Every one of the graphics we put up of Alex Wood has an ERA that's in the low twos. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's road, doesn't matter if it's against a certain team for the season. And then just about every one of them has to have an asterisk next to it that says and only got 2 runs of support, or only received 2.5 runs of support over a 10 start stretch. That's been the huge thing that's affected his record since he got to the big leagues, but it hasn't affected his ERA.
This is Danny Valencia, former Minnesota Twins prospect, got to the big leagues in 2010 for the first time. He has since been well traveled. He's played with the Red Sox, the Orioles, and last year with Kansas City and Toronto.
Did a great job with Kansas City after he went over there, but he's in the lineup today because he hits lefties.
And he did on a 1-0 pitch into right center field. And Valencia's aboard with his 3rd hit of the season and the 2nd for the Jays today.
He had 321 against left-handers last year. He and Tollison both playing today for that reason. Braves had him really overshifted. That might have been a routine out if you're playing him straight up.
We'll see if they adjust when Valencia comes up for the 2nd time as Russell Martin bats. And a strike. Russell Martin snapped an 0 for 22 with a 1-out homer in the 2nd last night. One of his 2 long balls he hit for the Jays. The first 2 as the new Toronto starting catcher. Popped him up. Andrelton Simmons and Callaspo converge. It'll be Alberto. He's got it. 2 outs. Kevin Pillar, the batter. One note I forgot to mention about Pillar last night. He was absolutely no sure thing to get to the big leagues. He was a 32nd round draft pick who had a terrific college pedigree, a 54-game hitting streak, but he just kept working and working and working, and he's taken advantage, Joe, of an injury in the Toronto outfield.
Was it Pillar that we heard the story yesterday about him being taken out of a game last year, pinch hit for, went in the dugout, pitched a hissy fit, banged his bat on the railing, threw it up the tunnel, and got sent to Buffalo the next day?
That's him.
That was a nice wake-up call from John Gibbons.
And Pillar said it was the longest car ride he's ever taken, because for a man who worked so hard just to get to the big leagues, he thought he'd blown his chance by losing his cool in the dugout. But he went back to Buffalo, got called back up, and with his terrific defensive start, he's in very good graces with the Jays. He's already made 3 or 4 highlight reel catches in the first 2 weeks for Toronto.
Good pitch there from Alex. Ahead 0-2 and stood him up with a good stiff fastball.
just missed.
He appears to be locating his fastball, though, real well here in the early going. A good sign.
Runner goes, and outside. A.J. had no chance. The ball sails into center field, but no advance by Valencia.
Change up. There was nowhere near the plate. Hard one to throw on for A.J. Don't have to give in here.
In the air to center, and that's well hit. Maben on the run, still going back. He got there. A deep drive to center by Kevin Pillar, and the park big enough to hold it.
He can go get him, folks, and made a really good play to save some runs last night. Saved one right there.
Fox Sports celebrates 50 years of the Atlanta Braves.
Salute Nuxie Phil Necro as we celebrate 50 years of Braves baseball in Atlanta.
Big day right there. No hitter.
Phil Necro won his 300th game by pitching a complete game shutout 8-0 when he beat Toronto on October 7th, 1985. Going back and reading about that story, Phil said he threw 3 knuckleballs the entire game.
Is that right?
And they were the last 3 pitches to take care of Jeff Burroughs, who was the last out. As Maben's down swinging. And at the time, Phil, who was pitching for the Yankees, they finished a couple of games behind Toronto. He became the oldest pitcher in the history of the game to throw a shutout in the major leagues, surpassing Satchel Paige.
That doesn't surprise me. He could probably throw one today.
Well, Phil worked with R.A. Dickey, you might recall, a couple of years ago, trying to help him perfect his knuckleball pitch. And I think Phil was very rewarded personally when R.A. Dickey won the Cy Young Award with the Mets. He's got it dancing and darting again here in the 3rd inning. He's figured some things out after a very long first inning. Iaspo singled and scored the first Braves run. He came home on a sac fly from Chris Johnson. 1-0 Braves. Now 2-2. Counting back to spring training, it's 96 at-bats and counting for Iaspo with only 1 strikeout.
Way to go.
Thanks. Well, timing is everything. 4 strikeouts for they did 2 outs.
Yeah, the old jinx master.
Yep.
Chip Carey got him.
Hi, get everybody. 2 outs. And Markakis the hitter. Nick walked his first time up. He's walked him 7 times. Strike 1. Quite an adjustment for Russell Martin, too. He's got to catch R.A. Dickey's knucklers with the oversized mitt. The catcher's glove is almost like a first baseman's mitt. Not nearly as padded for the guys that throw in the low to mid 90s.
He's throwing it harder this inning. Here comes a fastball, I think. No.
I mean, that catcher's glove, it's really kind of a hybrid, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Between the first baseman's glove and the catcher's mitt?
Absolutely, it is.
2-2 pitch. Now Dickey will slam on the brakes here. 1-0, 2 outs, bases empty in the 3rd.
Oh, yeah. I think that one fooled Bruce Dreckman. And it could have been he got blocked a little bit by Russell Martin kind of standing up here.
And Dickey lost it. He's really upset. Didn't get strike 3 on the previous pitch, and Markakis aboard with a 2-out walk. We forget the umpires have trouble with this pitch too. So few guys throw it, and it's such a difficult pitch to umpire.
It's a headache. Bruce Dreckman's a good umpire, though, especially on balls and strikes. So it's good for Dickey that he's got him back there today.
So again, Freeman has a chance to hit with a man aboard. He came up with 2 on in the 1st inning and was walked. High fly ball belted deep right center field, and instead of a strikeout, it's a long home run for Freddie Freeman.
He hit one about 6 rows deep in the 2nd deck last night, right above the Braves bullpen. This one hit the facing of the 2nd deck in deep right center. And that missed call on what looked like strike 3 to Markakis comes back to haunt R.A. Dickey. Man, oh man, is he locked in.
So it's a 3-run Atlanta lead in the 3rd. Freeman's 4th homer. And his 4th homer in the last 7 games for the Braves. And squibbed out towards second. Travis has it. The throw to first is in time. Now R.A. Dickey's going to start talking with Bruce Dreckman about ball 3 instead of strike 3. Atlanta took advantage on a Freeman homer.
R.A. Dickey wanted to know where that pitch was from Bruce Dreckman. No harsh words, just fact-finding. Dickey knew where this one was going, and up there below the Rogers sign on the facing of the second deck. Crushed.
Third home run Freddie Freeman has hit versus R.A. Dickey. And the Braves have given Alex Wood 3 runs to play with in the early innings in Toronto. This is Steve Tollefson. He's the shortstop. And he's behind 0-2. Thinks Alex Wood can get used to this kind of run support, huh?
I would say so. He's doing a good job of getting ahead in the count so far today, too. Donaldson got ahead 2-0. He's about the only one who had a good count.
Sharply hit, and Callaspo couldn't surround it. So Tollefson has his first hit of the day. He's another Jay that hits lefties well.
Well, he hit that sharply on an 0-2 count, but Alberto, I thought, had a chance because once it hits, it slows down and doing a better job of getting in front of that one. That was one that shouldn't have gotten by him.
So this is Dalton Pompey, the Toronto center fielder. He pushed a bunt foul for a strike.
Tollefson's dad played for a long time in Major League or professional baseball. Wayne Tollefson, you might remember. And Steve went to South Carolina.
Got a foot at the edge of the carpet at first. Nice lead with a strike to Pompey. One ball, one strike. And now 2-1 for Dalton Pompey, a local kid from Mississauga, Ontario. Became the 19th Canadian-born player to appear in a game for the Jays. And the 9th different Canadian-born player to hit a homer as a Jay. They like him a lot. 2 balls and a strike. High fly ball down the left field line. Will hang up there for Gomes. Near the wall. He can't get it. Slams into the fence.
Well, he hit hard, too.
He had a long way to go to get to that ball. And that fence comes up very quickly in foul territory.
Yeah, it comes out to a point there. There's a curve and then there's a point. That's right where he was headed. Actually got leather on it, but boy, banged into the wall hard.
So no play. It's a 2-2 count. Well, at least I know you're happy about the way they have the padding on these fences.
They do it right. Padding all the way down to the ground.
Two. Ooh, just missed. He's tried that inside corner a couple of times and hasn't gotten a call.
Big pitch here. He's got the top of the order coming up. You saw what they could do last night. Needs to make a good pitch here. Get an out. Maybe get 2.
it's Pompey's turn to spoil a few pitches.
They sent Valencia last inning after a couple of throws over, but that was with one out. In fact, there were two out when that happened. Maybe reluctant to run themselves out of an inning here.
Line into center. Maben got there, and Tolleson will have to scramble back to first.
Defense was set up perfectly. That's a gapper if he's just playing straight away, but he was shading him over toward right center and got a good jump on it.
Devin Travis is the Jays team leader in average and runs batted in. He's 0 for 1 today with a ground out to second. Close play at first. Tolleson just back quickly.
Almost got him with a quick Steve Avery step off.
Strike one from Alex Wood. 8 of the first 10 hitters he's faced today. Beautiful curveball.
Best one he's thrown so far. First pitch looked like he caught Travis a little flat-footed because he changed his timing on his move to the plate. Used a slide step and almost caught Travis not ready. Took a called strike and then dropped the curve on him.
Travis late. 0-2.
You know, there are scouts that scout the minor leagues too. That's how you find out who the good prospects are, who the players are in an organization that may not be listed as prospects but are good looking players. So the Braves know something about Devin Travis, but until you get in game action and make pitches to him to see if he's got a weakness somewhere, it's going to take a while, take a few at bats, take a few games to find out if there's a place they can go to get him out. So far, nobody in the American League before the National League showed up had figured it out.
You got it. Wood will try to start a double play. There's one. There's two. Alex Wood and Andrelton Simmons combined.
Andrelton was doing some tiptoeing out there trying to find the bag. Nice play.
Second double play turned by the Braves defense, and Atlanta's up 3. A couple of double plays turned behind Alex Wood today, and Atlanta's up 3.
Nice job by Alex here to kind of defend himself, and then there's Andrelton stepping on the bag, stumbling over the bag, but still getting off a good throw.
Might have a better chance of stumbling over the blades of the artificial turf than the bag. That's how thick this stuff is.
How about that D, though?
Swing and a drive by Pierzynski to right. Batista's back, and that one will creep over the fence. A.J. Pierzynski with a line drive homer on the first pitch here in the 4th inning.
He had not given up a home run in his previous 2 starts.
To the
He's given
people!
up 2 homers, 1 in back-to-back innings. This one just got over the wall because it was hit so low. Dropped right in the zone, right in AJ's wheelhouse. Oh, there's a hug.
From Pierzynski.
Yeah.
So AJ with his 3rd homer. And Johnny Gomes the batter. Gomes last night hit his 10th career pinch hit homer. That's the most pinch hit homers among active players in the big leagues. And this one stroked deep toward left. That ball's carrying out toward the fence. Track, wall, and Pilar has just enough room. That was all Johnny Gomes.
Yeah, it was.
And he hit it about 374 feet.
He got fooled, got on his front foot, and that was all him. This ballpark will do it to you.
I was going to say, what their offense gets, their pitching staff has to suffer through too. And now Kelly Johnson, a drive. It is shallow left this time. And Pilar will have no trouble with that. 2 out.
I talked to Carlos Tosca after the ball game, Braves bench coach, and he was a manager here for a time, you may remember. And he said the players didn't like it when the roof was open. He said when the roof is open, the wind comes in off the lake, kind of hits that big wall of roofing out in center field in the hotel, and basically hits that area, and then gets funneled back toward home plate, so it knocks down any drives hit in the air. So they like it when the roof's closed because the ball carries better.
We've seen that in the first 2 games, that's for sure. 7 home runs were hit here last night. Braves hit 2 of them. And Atlanta's got 2 homers so far today. Freeman and A.J. Pierzynski.
Well, remember, it's a small park. 328 down the lines. It's 330 and 335 down the lines at Turner Field, right? The gaps. Gaps are 375, and in Atlanta they're 380 and 390. So it's quite a bit smaller.
A.J. Pierzynski with a leadoff homer on the inning's first pitch. And Atlanta behind Alex Wood leads 4-0. A moment ago, he's the subject of today's AT&T Universe trivia question. 230 career interleague homers, 8th most among active players. Who has the most? Interleague hits, I beg your pardon. Interleague hits, not homers. Who has the most? Think about that for a moment as Josh Donaldson goes to work. It's hard to bet against Miguel Cabrera. Don't want to walk people in this park.
Hard to bet against A-Rod, too. I'm just talking about hits.
Yeah, as long as he's been around. He had a big homer for the Yankees yesterday. 470 some odd foot tape measure job for New York.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Ichiro would be another choice.
All kinds of choices is a good thing for us. See if we get it right today. Full count pitch to Donaldson. Nobody on or out. And Wood lost it. Base on balls with Bautista, Encarnacion, and company coming up. First walk for Alex. Bautista hit to a double play to end the first. Seven walks now for Alex in 14 2/3 innings pitched. And a letter high strike.
He's really done a good job of trying to keep Bautista honest inside.
Very limited action for Alex Wood in his young career against Toronto. You know, he's really relying on A.J. Pierzynski, who saw these guys so much as a member of the White Sox. He held it there for Dreckman, didn't get the call, and he's behind Bautista 3-1. Popped him up. And Bautista frustrated. Simmons is underneath, and he'll put that away for the first out.
Yeah, a bit of a bat flip there from Bautista on a pitch that he thought he should have hit out of the ballpark. This guy hits home runs in bunches. He got a pitch in, but maybe a little too far in. Got under it a little bit, but when he gets hot, and it'll be coming soon, he's something else.
I think Monday would be an excellent time.
Perfect time.
Here's Encarnacion. Pep talk from Pierzynski. I'll bet you went to Alex and said, look, can't be getting behind 3 balls, no strikes to this part of the order. And he throws strike 1 to the Toronto first baseman. Big year for Encarnacion last year. 16 homer, 33 RBI made. He too cold to start. 2 hits in his last 23 at bats. Double play ball. Simmons, Callaspo, easy turn. And Alex Wood has gotten 3 double plays. One of Joe's keys, get the ball down. Alex has done that through 4 shutout innings, and he leads 4-0. Here, buy your bobblehead 4-game plan now and get all 4 of the 2015 bobbleheads, starting with the Javi Lopez bobblehead May 20th against Tampa Bay. Get your bobblehead 4-game plan now by visiting Braves.com/4game. We're in the 5th inning, and Cameron Maybin's leading off an inning for the 3rd time already against R.A. Dickey. And it's more of the same against the Atlanta Braves for Dickey.
Yeah, that's very much a continuation of what he had working against Atlanta coming in.
And over the inside corner, that one backed up.
Dreckman gave him a pitch. Actually, I thought 2 pitches outside. So, okay, he's giving him the outside corner. And then he gave him this one. And that was not a strike. So Cameron has fanned twice, but that one was a freebie for Dickey.
Strike 1 to Callaspo, who has singled, scored, and struck out. Callaspo went fishing, and Dickey has his 6th strikeout in the game. Big series so far for Nick Markakis. He's been on base every time he's come to the plate, and he's our T-Mobile game changer.
Especially the way Freddie Freeman's going right now. If you're getting on base every at bat in front of him, that's a good thing. Wonderful numbers here. His last 22 games against the Jays. Pretty salty as well.
3 walks, 4 singles, and 4 runs for Markakis. Ball into strike.
It's interesting how Russell Martin sets up for R.A. Dickey. I don't remember him doing this last night. Kind of goes to one knee, almost like it gives him room to go after the ball if it hits in the dirt, if that knuckleball hits in the dirt. I don't know if it allows him a little more mobility or not, but an interesting setup.
And he draws another walk. Markakis came in with an on-base percentage of .436. He's walked for a 3rd time, and Freddie Freeman has another opportunity with 2 outs.
9 walks against R.A. Dickey.
That's another reason why the Braves like Markakis. A very patient approach. It's paid off today. He scored ahead of Freeman's homer last time up. Remember, Markakis appeared to have been struck out. Strike 3 was called ball 3. He walked, and then Freeman hit a 2-run homer.
I think at this point with Freddie, the way he's swinging the bat and what they've seen the last 2 games, game and a half against him, R.A. Dickey's throwing that knuckleball saying, please dance.
Yeah.
Please move.
One ball, 2 strikes. And a ground ball to the right side. And that will take care of the Braves in the 5th inning. A 2-out walk does no damage. Valencia, Martin, and Pilar coming up. Atlanta leads R.A. Dickey and the Jays 4-0.
Nothing, and Nick Markakis has yet to make an out in this series. I talked to hitting coach Kevin Seitzer about Nick's calmer demeanor and if that has anything to do with his success at the plate. He said, well, he's been playing for years and putting together great at-bats for a long time, but he said, you know what, he's an absolute professional. He said he may come off even keel on the outside, but inside he's full of fire and intensity. He won't snap and throw stuff, but will certainly be upset if something does not go his way out on the field. And he's exceeded Kevin Seitzer's expectations from what he's seen from Nick Markakis so far this season.
Yeah, Christina, that's a good point. Nick is a very quiet guy, as Danny Valencia has another hit against Alex Wood. That's why he's in the lineup. Maben will chase that down on the warning track, and Valencia will lead off with a 2-base hit. He's 2 for 2. Joe, there are lots of different ways to lead. You can be a vocal leader. You can lead by example. And I think we found from Nick Markakis, for him personally, the name on the front of the jersey is a lot more important than the name on the back.
Well, he grew up in the Orioles organization, and that's the way they're taught over there. First-class organization, a lot of veteran-type players over there who certainly followed the lead of Cal Ripken Jr. for years. So he knows how to play the game. He's got himself under control. And the one thing that's easy for me to forget is that he only had about 20 at-bats in spring training.
He was recovering from off-season neck surgery. Here's Russell Martin. Runner at second, nobody out. And Pierzynski, a nice stop.
Do not let that leadoff double affect what you're doing and how you're working. For Alex Wood, you got to be conscious of the guy at second base, but don't pitch to Martin and Pilar and Tolleson coming up, trying to do everything you can to preserve a shutout. If the guy scores, he scores. You've still got the lead, but work on these hitters.
Back up the middle. Callaspo will throw to first, and the stretch. No advance by Valencia.
Valencia looked over and patted his chest like, my bad for not going. But what he didn't know if Alex Wood's going to catch this ball. That's why he froze right there. He started back to the bag, and now it's too late. Nice play by Alberto. Remember that power boat in Seattle? Oh boy, Oberto.
Oh boy, Oberto. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, remember that.
We might have to take some license with that, you know.
Here's Pilar. He flied to center, and this one's popped out of play.
Oh boy, Alberto will be our call now.
Wasn't there a hair product, Alberto VO5?
Uh-huh.
I promise I won't work that in. No balls in a strike. And high and tight. That'll back Pilar up. A math major at Cal State. As we mentioned, a 54-game hitting streak in college in 2010. This thing I love about baseball, you never know, as you said, who's a prospect, who's going to, let me take that back. You never know who's going to succeed, whether they're a prospect or a 32nd round draft pick. You can't measure statistically the heart and the desire of a player like a Kevin Pilar. And then when they get here and have some success, I think it's really rewarding for people who love the game to see guys work so hard and struggle, not be the big bonus babies and have it all handed to them. They get here on their merit.
That was what was so contradictory about his hissy fit last year. Here's a guy who had to bust it all the way through to get to this point, and then to have a fit because his manager pinch hit for him in the big leagues. He still regrets that, and I doubt that you'll ever see that happen again. But a guy who felt slighted perhaps because he wasn't recruited to play Division I baseball, got drafted real low, and all he did was hit .322 in his minor league career, and all the way up combined. Great numbers.
2-2 pitch. We talked in similar fashion with another opponent, Tom Kohler, guy that pitches for the Marlins, guy that may have felt slighted, being an 18th round pick.
Yeah, and he was putting up better numbers than the so-called top prospects, but they were getting promoted and he wasn't.
Full count pitch for Pilar, and Wood missed outside. So some trouble here in the 5th for Alex. 2 on, 1 out. Steve Tolleson, the batter. He too with a base hit his first time. Braves returned 3 double plays today. A 4th would be just fine. There's the ground ball to second. There's 1. There's 2. Thank you very much. Love it when they follow the script.
Yeah, good call, Chip, and a good handle by Andrelton, who did not get a good feed, but he made the play.
The ground in this airport of a ballpark,
and he's done a great job of that. A lot of ground balls today that's resulted in 4 double plays. You're seeing them all right here. Guys in the middle of the diamond have been busy. Guy Aspo's turned a couple of real pretty ones, but almost backhanded this one out of the reach of Andrelton. Nice work by Simmons to reach for it, get it, and get rid of the ball.
Out distribution for Alex Wood today. 11 ground ball outs, 4 fly ball outs, 0 strikeouts today. Chris Johnson with a bounding ball to third. Long throw across in time. Valencia takes care of Chris Johnson as we start the 6th inning.
Well, that's the difference between the American League and National League. It's so obvious. R.A. Dickey's turn at bat would come up next inning for Toronto, leading off, and it might be his last inning. But not when you got the DH.
And out after Toronto really ran through its bullpen last night. A lot of folks were scratching their heads as to why John Gibbons did that. As Pierzynski slashes one foul. AJ has a strikeout, a homer, and a hug today.
I mean, that was a last-second, split-second decision to hack at that and stay alive.
Line foul. 0-2. In the air to center. And that'll be caught by Pompey. Pierzynski squared it up, but he's out number 2. And here's Johnny Gomes. Mentioned last night, Johnny hit a pinch hit homer. Weird stat that the Jays had in their notes. They gave up a pinch hit homer in their final game against Tampa Bay. They gave up a pinch hit homer to Johnny Gomes last night. They'd gone 279 games without allowing a pinch hit homer before the last 2 days. One ball, one strike for the Braves left fielder Johnny Gomes. Tell you what, Russell Martin's done a heck of a job behind the plate. I don't think he's boxed one ball today. Not that I can remember.
No.
And Dickey with that Gold Glove takes away a hit try for Johnny Gomes. 3 up, 3 down, and Neal at his 6th. 9-1-2 up for the Jays, who are trailing Alex Wood by 4. He's helped himself a couple of times today.
Spectacular play on the bunt attempt by Andrelton Simmons. Made a nice play on the comebacker to him by Gomes there to end the top of the 6th inning.
Nine 1-2 for Toronto in the 6th. Pompey takes a strike. I mispronounced Dalton's hometown earlier. It's not Mississauga, but Mississauga. So my apologies to our Canadian friends. Bunt try and an easy play for AJ. Fans of Toronto might be saying, what happened on that bunt try? 1 out.
I bet it was Jim Guadagno that called you and let you know about that.
He's on the hotline. There's no question about it. Here's Travis. He's hitting one of 4 Toronto double plays today. Another ground ball, and this one bounces over the glove of Chris Johnson. Look at Simmons track it down in shallow left. And he holds Travis to a long single. What a play by Andrelton Simmons. No out is made, but he saved a base.
Have you ever seen anybody do that?
Nope.
I've never seen that happen before, but that is such a heads up, head in the game play because of this turf. Chris is playing it in case he bunts, so he bounces it over his head. Now that's just a double. But Andrelton hustled out there, got to it, and made sure he only got a single out of it. What a play. What a heads-up play.
He keeps the double play in order with Josh Donaldson up. He singled and he has walked.
I've never seen a shortstop do that before.
The only ballpark where I can think of where the shortstop has to make a play like that is Fenway Park. Where the odd Karams push the ball back into shallow left. But he went
But
100 feet.
You're conditioned to
Right,
that at
not,
Fenway.
not in a symmetrical park like this.
No. I mean, he had the presence of mind to take off running as soon as it basically was hit. Maybe moving over to kind of back him up, but then on a continuation to keep going after the ball. See what Andrelton. No, he's already going. He was already given ground and going. That just doesn't happen.
2-0 pitch. In the air, center field deep. Maben going back, slowing, and setting up. There's the second out. Well, what a deflating play that's got to be for Toronto. Trying to get something going, trying to make something happen. Andrelton Simmons with a play that will probably go unnoticed on the box score. Changed the tenor of the inning.
Yeah, that's as good a highlight play as any, going in the hole, turning double plays. That's just a sensational baseball effort. Wow. I won't soon forget that one.
Here's Batista. And ball one. A play like that is what makes interleague play so great. Fans in Toronto probably read about Andrelton Simmons, but fans that are here just saw that play and they won't forget it. Popped up again. Batista's got that play working to perfection in this game, and Andrelton is there. What an inning defensively for Andrelton Simmons. He saved a base, and Toronto frustrated through 6 by Alex Wood, who leads 4-zip. Homers. Alex Wood firing a 5-hit shutout. He's gotten 4 double play balls and some outstanding defensive work from Andrelton Simmons. And a shift on for Kelly Johnson. That ball squirted out to the shortstop. And Tollefson on the first base side of second base makes the play for out number 1. How about this play?
Well, it's not Shea Simmons. It's actually Andrelton Simmons. But it's the Toyota key play of the game just because of his hustle and effort here to run this ball down and then make a throw to keep the guy, hold the guy at first.
Went next door and asked the Toronto broadcasters, Buck Martinez and Pat Tabler, if they've seen an opposing shortstop make that play, and they said nope. And Simmons rewarded with a base hit. Diving try by Tollefson, but he couldn't come up with it. And Andrelton, who's been swinging a hot bat, has his 3rd hit of the series.
That's the first hit for Atlanta since Pierzynski's leadoff homer in the 4th.
Speaking of home runs, the Braves have now hit 12 of them. That vaults him into 3rd place in the National League in the home run column. And safe at first. Maven with good speed beat the Rap. He keeps the inning alive.
You think he can't get down the line? I know he's scuffling to get hits, but he's playing a terrific center field and hustle to keep this inning alive on a routine double play ball to 3rd.
That's something that the Braves veterans have talked about. And this one might be appealed by John Gibbons. They're getting word from the Toronto clubhouse. This club will run the bases hard all the time. And apparently not enough evidence for the Jays to challenge the call.
This is so much better than last year's way of checking to see if they want to protest. Just give the umpires a heads up from the dugout that we're checking, and then there you don't have the trip out and trip back.
You might recall when we sat down with John Schuerholz before spring training started last year, he said this is going to be a 3-year rollout. And there were some bumps along the way last year, but I agree with you. I think it's a much quicker, much more efficient and successful system. As that's in for a strike.
How about this? You talk about those pinch hit homers for the Blue Jays. How about the fact that Callaspo had struck out 1 time in like 95 at bats? He's got back-to-back strikeouts today, and he's 0-2 right now.
To 3rd, and the throw to 2nd is in time, and that will retire the side. We go to the 7th inning stretch in Toronto. The Braves trying to make it 2 straight north of the border today. Bobblehead 4-game plan now and get all 4 of the bobbleheads this season, starting with the always popular Javi Lopez bobblehead May 20th when Tampa Bay comes to town. Get your bobblehead 4-game plan now by visiting Braves.com/4game. This is a 4-game. 4-0 for Alex Wood as the 4, 5, 6 hitters coming up now for Toronto. Alex has pitched debut.
And he's been efficient. 75 pitches, 76 now. Double plays will help that pitch count a lot.
Mark Bowman, the fine beat writer for the Braves on MLB.com, says the Braves record for most double plays in one game is held by Tom Glavine. He got 5 in a game twice. Fly ball center. Maven froze for a moment. Well, you feel awfully confident when he's tracking it down in center, don't you?
Well, we showed that play last night. One that was misjudged by Pompey, and then one that was hit right at Cameron, where he didn't commit. He just turned where his shoulders were facing the right field corner. So he hasn't committed to go back, come in, and then it gives him a split second to judge it. He did the same thing right there and realized it was just a pop-up.
Valencia's been a burr in the saddle today. He's got 2 of Toronto's 5 hits, a single, a double, and a stolen base. And Wood moved him off the plate.
Boy, he really does bend over at the waist as the pitch is about to be delivered. It's like he's kind of leaning in, diving in, inviting you to pitch him in. He went to college at UNC Greensboro and then transferred to the University of Miami and was all everything at University of Miami.
Out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. That's well hit toward left. And that ball is high off the fence. Valencia is going to try for 2. The throw is off target. And Valencia with a 1-2 count has his 3rd hit in as many tries today.
Tell you what, I love his approach at the plate. He's got it covered middle away. And he's strong enough to intimidate you middle in. Ball jumped off his bat too. Fortunate it stayed in the ballpark and just barely. Good play by Gomes, but his throw tailed away.
Russell Martin has hit the ball towards second twice. He's 0 for 2. One ball, 1 strike. And now 1-2.
Good pitch. Five homers yesterday, but none with men in scoring position. Fastball at the knees, down and in. See if they go backdoor breaking ball here.
Line drive down the right field line. That's in for a hit. Martin has provided Toronto with their first hit with a runner at second or third in the series. A long single, and Toronto's on the board. It's now a 4-1 game.
They stayed with the fastball, and Russell got it. Tried to come in, but they didn't go in. I mean, it wasn't delivered in. It was low and down the middle, and took it the other way. Nice job of hitting by Russell Martin.
So the Braves bullpen goes to work for the first time as Wood approaches 90 pitches. A double and single with one out in the seventh. And Kevin Pillar, the batter, is flat out and walked.
That's Kenneth who's up.
Pillar took a shot the other way. Nice grab. And fans from Hamilton, Ontario. And he needs a new shirt.
Yep. Spilled a little liquid on him.
0-1. Popped up. Who wants this? Freddie Freeman says he's got it. First base side of the mound. Funny scene last night as well. Chris Johnson hit a foul ball and a fan caught it in their bag of popcorn last night. These fans are very good at using the ballpark snacks as catching implements. 2 outs.
That's because they work with so many snares during the wintertime. These poor people said they have how many days in a row? 20 below?
A whole month?
Like 2 weeks?
Yeah. Brutal. Here's Steve Tollefson. A single and a double play ball. Well, we were really lucky. Early forecasts for Toronto were for lots of rain while we were here. It's been absolutely gorgeous. And this city is alive. They love their Jays. The Raptors are playing an NBA playoff game today in Toronto. Downtown is alive, and so is the Jays offense as Tollefson strikes one to the right center field gap. Here comes Martin around third. He's going to be waved home. Runner to third. Throw there. Gets away. It ricochets off the stands. And no further advance. 3 Toronto hits, 2 Toronto runs, and here come the Jays now down 4-2.
The 2 guys inserted into the lineup today for Alex Wood have done the job. Valencia 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. Tollefson a single and now a triple and an RBI. And he hit the ball sharply his other at bat and hit it into a double play. But those 2 guys inserted into the lineup because of their success against left-handers have proven just that.
(4-2) now. As Wood gets ahead of Pompey, who's lined out and popped out. He's gone after him quickly and is ahead 0-2. They tried, he missed.
I may have said this earlier about Tollefson. I don't remember, but he was in the Twins organization and he was having good years back to back to back to back, and he was moving up through their system like molasses. He'd spent 2 years at one stop and then 2 years in Double-A, and just didn't seem to be going anywhere.
Ground ball to short. Simmons there. The long throw. Close play. Safe. And a run is in.
Freddie Freeman motioned to the dugout like he thinks this ought to be looked at. Anderson got rid of it quickly. He knew Pompey could run. I think they got him.
This is a very big call.
Sure is.
It's either out number 3 or run number 3. The Braves will challenge the call of safe at first.
Out. Foot not down yet. Now the foot comes down after the ball's in the glove.
The umpires are looking at the scoreboard in center, but they'll get the definitive answer from Replay Central in New York.
Well, one of the angles they're showing is from behind first base where you can't see the ball go into the glove. So they think he might be safe. But what we saw from that center field camera, he was out.
Is there clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call of safe at first? From that angle, he looked out.
Yeah. Yeah, there was even a separation there of ball and foot. You're right, Chip. This is a big play. Taking a long look at it in New York.
Which makes you wonder if there's enough evidence to overturn the safe call.
It's pretty clear and convincing to me.
Yep.
I don't know that they've got my phone number, though.
It appears the verdict. Well, Tom Hallion was ready to make the call. And now the verdict is in, and the call is safe.
Oh, wow. My gosh.
So my guess is, and we won't know until we get confirmation from New York, I think Freddie Gonzalez is going to go get Alex Wood. There must not have been enough evidence to overturn the call. And that will be the last pitch thrown by Alex Wood. Pompey's great speed earns him an infield hit. And a third run in the 7th inning for the Jays.
Well, I give Pompey credit for the hustle, but he was out.
So Alex Wood goes 6 2/3 innings, 3 runs allowed so far. Didn't strike anybody out, but pitched to Butte. Now the Braves bullpen in play late at Rogers Center. To attend the Braves baseball camps, the ultimate major league experience for boys and girls of all talents aged 5 through 13. Braves baseball camps offer 1-week sessions in locations around the Atlanta area. Go to braves.com/camps today.
Brandon Kenneth is in his 7th game. He's only given up 1 run, but it was in an inning where he didn't give up a hit. He walked the first 2 guys he faced. Can't walk guys here. And a good idea to hold Pompey close, because with a new pitcher, a lot of times a base stealer likes to go on the first pitch.
Devin Travis, the batter. Toronto with a 3-run 7th. And aboard 2 outs. We got word that the reason that call stood at first base, there was not enough clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call of safe.
It's pretty clear to me.
That's a big play. Instead of out number 3, it turned into run number 3 for the Jays. And a strike to Devin Travis.
Ball was in Freddie's glove, and the toe of Pompey's foot had not come down on the bag.
Braves bullpen's done outstanding work. A .231 relief earned run average. Little pop, shallow left center. Simmons going out, still going out. Over the shoulder grab, Simmons. What a play! What a play by Andrelton Simmons to rob Travis of a blue pin.
And he fired that ball back in the infield because he's so mad about that other run scoring on a ground ball to him.
He's putting on a show with the leather, and Atlanta maintains the lead. Colt Hines takes over for R.A. Dickey, who gave up 4 runs in his 7 innings of work against the Braves today.
3 innings, couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. They're touching him up a little bit. Got him on waivers from the Dodger organization.
Nick Markakis leads all active players in batting average in interleague play. He's been perfect so far at the plate in this series. He's reached base every time he's come up. 4 singles, 4 walks, and he scored 4 runs. The first 2 games. And a strike.
Little crossfire action from him too.
Hines out of Aledo, Oklahoma. Right off Route 47 in Dewey County.
Never heard of it.
Line drive into center field for Markakis. What a series for Nick. 4 hits last night. His first today begins the 8th.
One of the reasons left-handers drop down like this against other lefties is to get them to flinch. Look at Nick. No flinch. No pulling off the ball. Front shoulder stays locked in, and he drove it right back through the middle.
You know, Freddie can hit lefties too.
Yeah, this guy doesn't flinch either.
Just corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. That means good pitch. Freddie took it. And Freeman goes the other way and spoils the shift. So the lefty-lefty matchups that Toronto was hoping to exploit work out to perfection for the Braves. Back-to-back hits from Markakis and Freeman.
Now Freddie kind of jammed himself on this because he was behind in the count. The target was away, and Freddie's thinking they're going to try and work him away, so he's going to cover that outside corner, but the pitch was middle of the plate, so in trying to cover it, he kind of jammed himself, fights it off, and slashes it into left field. So a great job of hitting there behind in the count.
So 2 hits for Freeman, and Atlanta sets up to add to a 1-run lead. It's 4-3 Braves here in the 8th inning. And Toronto's well-used bullpen will get some more work here in Game 2. Families, we hope you'll join us at Turner Field to see the Braves take on Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds Thursday, April 30th through Sunday, May 3rd. Great family activities all weekend long. Friday nights are the Georgia Lottery fireworks nights, and every Sunday is Alumni Sunday with autograph sessions, kids run the bases, and a whole lot more. Go to Braves.com/tickets and bring your family out to the ballpark to see the Braves take on the Cincinnati Reds.
You see Nick Markakis over there talking to Bo Porter. So while this guy's warming up, I think if he just put his helmet on and stayed there, I think they'd notice. Just stay there. He's supposed to be on second, but I don't know if anybody'd notice if he just stayed at third.
It's worth a try.
Why not?
You know, they've got the hidden ball trick, right?
Yeah, I mean,
how about the hidden base runner trick?
If they said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Go back to second. Go. Oh, I forgot. I was over here talking to my good friend Bo.
Yeah. Why not try it?
Yeah.
Trivia time. Need to get back in the win column. Our trivia question brought to you by AT&T Ubers. We told you A.J. Pierzynski's 230 career interleague hits are eighth most among active players. Who has the most?
I'm going to go with A-Rod.
A-Rod, I'm going to go with Miguel Cabrera. And you had it too.
Dang it.
Ichiro. By the way, speaking of Ichiro and the Marlins, Giancarlo Stanton hit another homer yesterday. He's starting to heat up. He was asked about it after the game in New York against the Mets, and he said, well, hitting home runs is great, but we're still terrible. He was not at all happy about the way that his Marlins club is playing right now. He said the fire isn't there, and that's a direct quote. The Marlins are off to a 3-8 start, and they're staring at DeGrom and Harvey the next 2 days in New York.
Tough duty. Liam Hendricks faced one batter last night, faced Chris Johnson, and got him to fly out.
Chris has an RBI today, and Markakis did go back to second.
Yeah.
Good try, though. See if Chris can chase him home with a gapper. And a strike.
One of the complaints last night about going through the bullpen like the Blue Jays did was that Hendricks only threw to one batter, Chris Johnson, and then they brought their closer in, so the Braves got a good look at Castro when it wasn't necessary.
See if that pays dividends here in the last 2 innings. Atlanta got a run in the first, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Johnson a sac fly, Freeman a 2-run homer, and A.J. Pierzynski a solo shot against R.A. Dickey. Toronto countered with 3 in their last at bat. They've got the big boys coming up in the bottom of this 8th. A line drive, center field, drifting back Pompey. He's there. Markakis will tag at second and head to third. Johnson hit that right on the screws. A productive out. An insurance run 90 feet away with 1 man down.
It's as good as a bunt, and to at least get 1 guy over. Chris hit it hard, and as you said, a productive out. Now a runner at third, less than 2 outs, get him in. And everybody high-fiving that.
A.J. becomes the key man in the inning. He is struck out, homered, and flied out. We know he can hit a fastball. He hit one a mile last night. It's a 98-mile-an-hour gas from Castro. Fly ball here would score Markakis conceivably. Braves have left 4 on base. They have 6 hits.
Blue Jays want something on the ground.
Tell you what, A.J. does a nice job hitting with 2 strikes, doesn't he?
He does. Today he's spoiled a lot of pitches from Dickey. I'm not sure that's what he wanted to do there.
See if he can protect. Nice stop by Martin. The ball in the dirt, and Freeman got an excellent read, and he'll move to second. That's a big play.
It is.
That takes away the double play chance.
Good read by him, too. He could read from first base that this one was going in the dirt before it ever even hit in the dirt. So he was off to the races.
Wild pitch. Now the infield has to come in for Pierzynski. Markakis and Freeman. It's 4-3 Atlanta. A.J. swung and missed, and he's mad at himself. That wasn't a strike.
I think he was kind of mad at himself that hole at bat. He missed the fastball the first pitch. It kind of ran in on him a little bit. Might have been a cutter. And then the foul ball on a pitch away. So some frustration on that occasion for A.J.
Talked about it in our opening comments today. The Braves such a great job with 2-out run scoring chances last night. 6 of their 8 runs came with 2 outs. Today they're 2 for 4 in that category. And Johnny Gomes pick up A.J. Pierzynski and cash in Nick Markakis, who's 90 feet away.
And those runs out there right now are so important, just as we discovered last night when Freddie hit that 2-run homer to make it a 3-run lead. They needed all the runs they could get last night.
Ball 1. Hendricks trying to pick up Colt Hines, who gave up back-to-back hits to start the inning.
That's an outstanding average. Johnny got caught looking for the breaking ball there.
Hendricks out of Perth, Australia, 26 years old. A ball, 2 strikes. Now time call. Down swinging goes Gomes. Braves had a great chance in the 8th. 2 on, nobody out. But Hendricks came on and put out the fire. Big inning coming up. Part of the order for the Jays in a 1-run game. Let's see how Atlanta and Toronto fared in 1-run games since 2012.
4th best for the Braves at 80 and 62. Toronto, not so good. 2nd worst in the major leagues.
Aspo moves to 3rd. Jace Peterson takes over at 2nd for the Braves. Big Jim Johnson on to set it up. He's got a tough inning. 2, 3, and 4 for the Jays. That's Donaldson, Batista, and Encarnacion.
And he got touched up last night here. He gave up 3 hits, couple of runs, a home run to Russell Martin. But before that, he was pretty much untouchable.
Ooh.
Oh my, come on.
AJ wondered about that one too.
Yeah, slow lob back from AJ.
Deep short. Simmons knocked it down. Johnson got the ground ball, but it was hitting a perfect spot, and the tying run potentially aboard for Toronto. Frustrating day for Batista. He's hit to a double play, and he's popped out to short twice. Atlanta's turned 4 double plays in the game.
And you saw those scary numbers.
High fly ball belted deep left field, and Toronto has taken the lead. You knew it was a matter of time, and unfortunately that time came in the 8th.
We were hoping it would wait till Monday, but it didn't. He was mad earlier today for popping up a couple, but those pitches earlier today were in on him. That one was out where he could get his arms extended.
So how big was the reviewed call at first? Simmons deep in the hole. Long throw gets Encarnacion. If that was out number 3 instead of run number 3, we'd be tied.
Well, and the Braves second and third, first and third, one out in the top of the inning, didn't get one in. That hurt too.
Big day for Danny Valencia. 2 doubles, a single, a steal, and a run scored. A 3-for-3 afternoon. He's 4-for-4.
I think he's going to earn some more playing time, and not just against lefties. And the second straight outing for Jim Johnson is not good.
Two runs, 3 hits in the inning. Atlanta's pen back to work. Russell Martin with an RBI hit back in the 7th. Runner goes. Bouncing ball is foul and out of play.
Another ground ball here with a catcher running would be nice.
There's the ground ball. Simmons to Peterson, and Toronto's hitting to 5 double plays. What a weird series. They hit 5 homers last night and lost. They've hit 5 double plays today, and they're winning. Last call for Atlanta as we head to the 9th. Batista's 3rd homer of the year puts Toronto in front, 5-4 after 8. Braves up 5-4. Time for our Coors Banquet Beer Timeless Moment. This date in Braves history. Let's go back to 1982. Braves won a one-run game against the Astros. They set a National League record, winning their 11th straight game to start the season. Looking back at the box score in that game, starting pitchers that day were Joe Cowley for the Braves, Bob Knepper for the Astros. Al Raboski won it, Rick Camp saved it.
And they went on to win 2 more, didn't they? They're 13-0. Saw this guy last night. A lot of people complaining that he pitched, so the Braves got a look at him last night. Let's see if it pays dividends. Throws hard.
Make him work as Kelly Johnson leads off. Ryan Goins into play short. And the Jays are without Jose Reyes. Cracked rib has sidelined him this series. Ball 2. Castro worked the 9th and walked a man last night. That was Jace Peterson. He got out of it. And a high fly ball deep right center field. Pompey back, track at the wall. He leaps and he can't get it. It's a home run. Kelly Johnson has tied it up.
Wow. Kelly's still looking. Alfonso Marquez was given the sign, but Kelly wasn't sold yet. 2-0 count. We've said it all along. Kelly can turn around anybody's fastball. The Braves have their 3rd home run of the day. Anybody's. Just out of the reach of Pompey.
So that stuns a crowd of 34,000 plus in Toronto. Atlanta ties it with a Kelly Johnson homer. And now Andrelton Simmons. He drives one to center. Pompey is going to have room to catch this one, though. And there's the first out. Three homers for Atlanta today. That gives them 13 for the season. They're 1 behind the Dodgers for the National League homer lead as a team. Who'd have thunk it? Here's Maben. And a strike.
Good idea. Get Cameron on, let him run the bases.
This kid has great stuff, but he's really untested. He's only 20 years old.
Never pitched above A ball.
And he got an inside corner call to retire Maben on strikes.
PNC pitching performance, target away, pitch is in. That's the 2nd time tonight Dreckman's called that inside on Maben. I don't know what he's got against Cameron, but that's twice he's done that.
And 2 outs for Callaspo. He looks away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Like I said, Bruce Dreckman, typically a good home plate balls and strike umpire. In the last 2 innings, he missed a call to the first batter that Johnson faced. Donaldson.
Right for call 2. Braves got a break when what looked to be strike 3 was called ball 3 against Nick Markakis. He eventually walked, and then Freeman hit a 2-run homer. In the following sequence, that's a shot toward right by Callaspo. And now Nick Markakis will bat, and he's had a perfect series at the plate. 5 hits, 4 walks for Nick Markakis. And Callaspo will be taken down for Eric Young Jr.
Like Encarnacion gave up on that ground ball a little too soon, especially given the slowness in which the ball travels on this turf.
That one pops away from Martin, and Eric Young Jr. moves up 90 feet.
Again, a good read. When you're watching the ball out of the pitcher's hand and you read and see that the ball's going to be in the dirt, go. Freeman did it. Now Eric Young did it, and he's in a position to give the Braves a go-ahead run at scoring position.
Fly ball, well hit toward left. Pilar going back. He gets there on the warning track. Markakis hit it a ton, but he's the third out. Kelly Johnson, though, is back in Toronto. He leads off the ninth inning with a solo homer, and we are tied 5-5 heading to the home ninth. #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and more at MLB.com. At bat for your smartphone or your tablet. What a ball game. 5-5 home ninth. Wholesale changes. Kelly Johnson, the hitting hero, tied it up with a leadoff homer in the top of the inning. Eric Young Jr. stays in the game. He'll be in left. Johnny Gomes moves from left field to right field, and on to pitch is left-hander Luis Avilan.
Luis has been terrific. Such an improvement over last year. Worked an inning, perfect inning last night. Struck out 2.
Pilar drives one toward right. Gomes near the line, has room, and makes the play for out number 1.
Pilar made another good play out there on Markakis. Saved the go-ahead run.
So here's Goins. Steve Tollefson started at shortstop. Had a good day. Single, a triple, an RBI, and a run. Goins started last night and went 0 for 3 with a sacrifice. And ball 1 from Avilan. Bounding ball toward first. Freeman will flip to Avalon. Dive, try at first. And Goins is out number 2. I hate that play with a passion.
Me too. Me too. Freddie had to play back on this hop because it's going to bounce on the dirt. Turned into a close play.
And I think Toronto's going to appeal that play at first. The Braves made a challenge in the bottom of the 7th inning that was denied. So Freddie Gonzalez lost his. Now Toronto's going to challenge this play at first as Freeman's flipped to Avalon. Did it beat? Goins to the bag.
I think so.
But there has to be enough clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call. That's the key. The call is out.
The original replay that they just showed in the stadium here looked like he may have beaten it. But the replay, the second replay that we showed from high first showed that his foot got down first. And now the fans are moaning because they just saw that replay.
And the call on the field is confirmed. He's out. Clearly.
Convincing.
So the play is confirmed. 2 outs. And here's Dalton Pompey. Go. Nope. 2-0.
Great change up again. And on a 2-0 count. And a double up on it.
Apologize to those of you trying to watch at home. We've lost our video signal. As Avalon comes set and ready for a 3-1 pitch to right-hand hitting Dalton Pompey. And Avalon with a changeup missed down and in. And the winning run aboard for Toronto with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
That's not a good walk. This guy can fly, as we saw earlier when he beat out that infield hit. And he represents the winning run.
So Devin Travis, the batter. He's the Toronto second baseman. 1 for 4 is he. With a 6th inning single. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. Big lead at first by Pompey. A foot on the turf. The pitch is driven toward right. Gomes drifts back a couple of steps and to his left makes the catch. And Devin Travis lines out to send this game to the 10th inning. Freddie Freeman, Jace Peterson, and A.J. Pierzynski are coming up for the Braves. 5-5 game. Free baseball in Toronto.
Tires. Right stuff, low price every day.
Crazy ball game, crazy series, quite frankly, in Toronto. This one's been a lot of fun. Atlanta led early, 4-0, couldn't hold on. Toronto with 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, took the lead. Kelly Johnson hit a homer to tie it in the 9th, and now Brett Cecil is on for the 6th game, and boy, he's been shellacked in the first 2 weeks.
Well, he got shellacked last night. He didn't even get through the inning. He's the guy that gave up 3 runs to the Braves in the 8th inning. Home runs to Gomes, base hit to Markakis, and the home run to Freddie Freeman.
And look who's greeting him first. And the ball outside to Freddie Freeman. He's walked, homered, and singled today. 4 homers in the last 7 Braves games. Shift is on for him. He spoiled the shift in the 8th. And he was fooled with that pitch, even count.
This guy's better than his start would indicate. Last year, a 2.70 ERA in 66 appearances, 76 strikeouts in 53 innings. But he also long arms the ball. It's almost a stiff arm delivery that gives the hitters time to pick it up.
Off the heel of Martin's glove, and here we go again. 3 balls and a strike for Freeman. Freeman was on his way to first base. And that inside corner has been death to a couple of Braves hitters. Maben twice, maybe Freeman here.
PNC pitching performance said he was there.
And he was there again. And Freeman raises his hands in frustration. He got the inside corner and the outside corner. Don't know about that sequence.
No, I didn't think anybody could get robbed more than Cameron Maben today. But that's the same spot. I mean, that's the same place he's rung up Maben twice, that far off the plate. They're not even close.
Jace Peterson hits, and surprisingly, that's not a strike. He's had a run scoring 3-base hit last night. His first Braves RBI. Now Valencia can back up at third base with 2 strikes.
This setup is not a good indication for Jace of how things are going. He's got a left-handed pitcher out there. Normally with a left-handed hitter, they're going to play you toward left field. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter, and he needs to be a guy who they can't defense this way. And that'll help.
An opposite field single.
That's what he needs to do to be successful. He's got to use the whole field. And that ought to be a bad tip to him, bad indication when he sees all those infielders shifted around to the right side. See the shortstop way up the middle, and he goes the other way. Good piece of hitting, good sign for Jace.
So he's aboard with 1 out. A.J. Pierzynski. 4th inning homer highlights his offensive day.
Jace can steal a base for you too.
He's got a foot on the rug. Another half step. He's got a big lead. Not going. And off the plate. Even count.
I don't like this pitch to run on it. It's a good pitch to pitch out on.
He's running, and Pierzynski's going to be picked off.
Terry Pendleton's going crazy at first base, saying that Cecil stepped toward home and threw to first.
That's never called either. Ground ball to first. Encarnacion diving stop. Cecil raced to the bag, and he beat Pierzynski. So Freeman rung up on a questionable called second and third strike. Peterson picked off, and then Pierzynski robbed at first. Bottom of the 10th, tied up. Well, in the early days of the season, there have been a ton of positive stories for this Braves ball club, and this one certainly has to be labeled a very pleasant surprise. Look at Sugar Ray Marimon. His major league debut came Tuesday against the Marlins, and look at the fine work he turned in.
Yeah, that was in relief of Trevor Cahill. He did a great job of holding off the Miami Marlins, give the Braves a chance to catch up. Excellent work. He is the second cousin of Julio Teheran out of Cartagena, Colombia. He's listed at 6'3", 150. I've been next to him. He dwarfs me. He's easy 6'4", and probably around 225. So I'm not sure where that 150 came from. Braves signed him as a minor league free agent.
2, 3, and 4 on the Toronto lineup card. And that's Donaldson, Batista, and Encarnacion. The Jays led it 5-4 after 8.5. They gave up a game-tying homer to Kelly Johnson. And a high fly ball off the bat of Donaldson deep to left field, and the Jays are going to walk off. The Braves couldn't hold a 4-0 lead, and Josh Donaldson has worn out Atlanta pitching. He's hit 3 homers in the series. He's knocked in 4 runs, and in 10 innings, the Blue Jays win a 1-run game. over Atlanta. 6-5. The Game 2 final.
Think there was any doubt in A.J. Pierzynski's mind?
So the Braves and Jays have battled to a draw in the first 2 games of this 3-game set. Rubber game comes our way tomorrow at 1:07 Eastern Time.